I'd like to know, are you really ready for some super dynamite?
What are the main advantages of group work for students in your opinion?
So this is the most difficult question, and thank you very much for asking it. Motivation has always been the core problem for the teachers. If the child is not motivated into participating, so you may even dance, clap your hands, you will not do anything. So, how to motivate the students? External motivation works. So, for example, you have the points for this or that work, and for the students, of course, points are the leading. But the second part, for example, is, for example, self-respect. So say that this is a part of your work, so this is your more or less child. So your project, your work done by the whole group. So why not taking part? Look at the other students, they're working, they have wonderful results. I think you could do the same, but mainly it doesn't work. So the other motivation is the students' motivation. As soon as you're in a group, of course, every member of the group will try to make the work better and try to involve everybody into the group. But sometimes I see that the only one person is performing the task and others are keeping silent and they're dissatisfied. In this case, I try to reallocate the groups. For example, the person who is doing the work on his or her own, so is truly motivated. So I ask him how to make it equal, how to motivate the others, because they see that only one person is doing everything. And this person may give the answer. For example, I don't trust them, and etc. So then I ask another question: what do you want to make the work, the group work, not the individual one? Because you see, the students are upset because they are doing nothing, but they could do something. And then we decide to analyze the steps. So, for example, one person could search for the information, another person could draw, the third person could, for example, analyze, find pluses and minuses, be the critics in the group. Another person can present the work. So that is why we can, every time, we can motivate the students. Ask them what they want to do in the group if you see the problem in the group. If they're still working and everything is fine, it means that everything is okay with their motivation. But if you see the problem, if you see the unequal participation of everybody in the group work, you might ask the students how to make it better, especially the students of our specialty, pedagogical, because we're going to be the teachers. And if we can't solve the problems with ourselves, how can we do it with the other students? That is an important thing. So, thank you very much for your questions. They were really interesting, and I feel satisfied with the answers. Perhaps these key questions will help you write your article.
What difficulties do students usually face while working in groups?
So, the methods could be different. That's question number 4. The first method is peer assessment, when the members of the group know better than the teacher because the teacher looks from outside. So the teacher is not mainly involved in the process of group work, and the students may assess each other, provided they have the criteria for the assessment. If you give the criteria for the assessment, like the performance of the task, equal participation, time allocated to each step of the project, perhaps, if the students have these criteria, it's easy for them to assess. The second approach, of course, that is teacher assessment, when the teacher assesses the work again based on the criteria given. And the third one, then one student assesses the work of the whole group, your group or the opposite group. But it might be a bit confusing because the students may have various relations to each other. Perhaps they could be the enemies in inverted commas, or they have wonderful relations and they can assess in a not objective way. So that is why you should combine three methods: peer, self-assessment, student assessment, and teacher's assessment. Self-assessment is the most difficult because it deals with the self-esteem of the person who sees and evaluates himself. And that's quite difficult if you have very low self-esteem. It's quite easy when you have high self-esteem.
How do you distribute roles among students to make sure everyone is involved?
Question number 3. So perhaps you know how I tried to distribute the roles. So I used the cards method. So for today, for example, the person is going to choose the card of the speaker. It means even if you are not a speaker by your nature, you have to develop this skill, or at least you have to protect the work of everybody. And everybody would help this person, provided the person had wonderful relations with the group. So the cards, as it is the first approach. The second approach is then the students try to choose the opposite role, the role they wouldn't like to have at any cost, but they try to perform the role of this or that person of this position in the group just today as an experiment. So this is the second approach. It is called opposite approach. But the most important, of course, is to make the students feel comfortable. If you follow this approach, of course, the students choose the roles by themselves. But we can try to have the other roles shared by the students equally, day by day, just experimenting.
What methods do you use to assess the effectiveness of group work?
Concerning the difficulties, question number 2. The difficulties, of course, are major, and there are many. First of all, I think the problem of unequal involvement of everybody. So it means some of the leaders can perform everything. So, and some of the lazy students or demotivated cannot be outside the group work. Also, that is the process that is chaotic. So sometimes it's not important, it's not possible to monitor the process, how every student works. So, and that is why the assessment could be also a difficulty in the group work. And the last one, I think it's time. So sometimes, but not sometimes, maybe always, group work requires much time. And the time allocated to the group work by the teacher can vary. For some groups, 10 minutes could be too much because they are very quick at responding. And for others, it could be too little because they have much time to prepare, perform, and analyze their work. And sharing the roles could be also the difficulty. The same person could be always the speaker, always the writer, always the monitor or performer. That is why perhaps these are the most important difficulties.
How do you motivate students to take an active part in discussions and teamwork?
Hello. So thank you for the questions. Let me answer one by one. So question number 1, what are the main advantages of group work for students in your opinion? So first and the foremost thing is that the group work stimulates into collective work. So the work that can be shared, done, performed by every student equally. So hopefully that's equal. So the advantages could be the most important thing, so as that synergy is used. It means the work that is done by many students is much more, you see, global than the work done by one student. Because you see, one head is good, but two are better. So it means the work that can be performed by many is more or less more global and effective. So these are the advantages. So sharing the responsibilities also could be the advantage because social perception is one of the main psychological effect of the group work.